Okay, real quick, tell me what's wrong with copy like this. Want to make $10,000 a week without lifting a finger? What's wrong with that? Aside from being generic, there are 3 things that it is missing. And these 3 things are the essential element to successful copywriting. You look at all the most successful copywriters in the world, and they do these 3 things masterfully. Problem is, most new copywriters, they don't even know about them, and so their copywriting just doesn't have them. So if you can work these 3 elements into all of the copy you create, not only are you gonna make more money, but your clients are gonna make more money as well. And that's what we're talking about in today's video. So if you're just getting started copywriting, or maybe you haven't had the success you want, trust me, you're gonna wanna stick around for this one. Okay, so in that example I just gave you, who was I writing that for? Yeah, you have no idea, do you? Because it was incredibly generic. And that is the first element of really good copywriting. It's an audience. You have to know exactly who you're writing for. And everybody is not a good audience. Have you ever noticed that when you're watching a football game, you see lots of beer commercials, whereas when you're watching your Christmas Hallmark movie, you see more pharmaceutical ads that aren't for, like erectile dysfunction. You might see those during football games. But my point being is you have to have an audience. Good advertisers know who their audience is, and every ad they create, they direct at a very specific person. So when you're doing your copywriting, you're gonna wanna do the same thing. You wanna be as specific as possible when it comes to writing for a specific audience. Let me give you an example. Do you wanna quit your job and build a business? This is for you. That's incredibly generic. No one is gonna be like, oh my God, they created this for me. So something like that narrows it down a little bit, but generally speaking, it's really generic copy. And I'm the first person to admit sometimes I get lazy and I fall into traps and I write something like that. But if you really want to create effective copy, you want to narrow down that audience as much as possible. You want to make somebody say, oh my God, it's like they created this exactly for me. That's what good copywriting does. They make it very, very personal, which then in turn makes somebody want to take an action or buy a product. So let's take that same idea. Build a business, quit your job, but let's actually make it targeted for a specific person. That might sound something like this. How many times have you dropped your kids off at daycare while dreading walking into the office, knowing you'll continue to be unappreciated by your boss? Wouldn't it be great to be able to spend more time with your family while having a sustainable business built around your favorite hobby or passion? The good news is there's a secret to doing it. You don't need much money, you don't need technical computer skills, and you'll have a way to make money on your own by the end of the week. Want to know what it is? I'm going to tell you in just a minute. See the difference? The first one was far too broad and generic, but the second one really narrowed it down to resonate with a very specific person. So who is that specific person? Well, it's parents that feel unappreciated in their jobs, people that maybe are struggling with money a little bit, and they want to build a business around something that they love to do. So that's going to be a lot more effective than just saying, want to build a business and quit your job, because that's not going to really resonate with anybody on a deeper level. And here's the counterintuitive thing. The more you narrow down your audience and you talk to that one specific person, the broader the audience you are actually going to reach. So using that example I just gave you, maybe someone reads that and they're not actually hurting for money, or they do feel appreciated in their job, but they're just bored. They still might resonate with that because maybe they are a parent and maybe they do want to start a business. So not everyone is going to fit all the points that you hit, but by going as specific as possible, you're giving yourself the opportunity to connect with more people. Counterintuitive, but it really works. So what's the action item here? Before you write any piece of copy, figure out who you're writing for. Because just saying, I'm writing for everyone, that's not going to allow you to get into the mind of the person that you were creating this copy for. But if there is a specific person you have in mind, maybe it's even a friend of yours or a parent or somebody you know, pretend you're writing for that person because you're gonna be much more specific. And in copywriting, the more specific you can be, the more successful you're gonna be. Okay, if you have never actually thought about your specific audience when you are writing copy, then go give this video a thumbs up because that one tip alone should be really helpful for you. Okay, the second element of effective copy is objective. What is the objective you are trying to get your reader to take? What are you trying to accomplish with your words? All too often we have far too many things we're trying to do. We're trying to get someone to share an article and click a link and read it and buy a product. You know what's gonna happen when I get an email where someone's trying to get me to do all of those things? Delete. It's true. I can only focus on so many things. You can only focus on so many things. We get so many messages on a daily basis that trying to focus on what somebody's trying to get us to do, it's next to impossible. So when you're copywriting, you don't want to clutter their mind with all sorts of different things. You want to be very clear on what is the one action you are trying to accomplish with this copy. If you're writing a Facebook ad, your one thing you're trying to accomplish is to get them to click that link and go to whatever page you're looking for. If you're writing a sales page, your whole goal is to get them to hit that buy button and buy your product. If you're writing an email pitch to a client, you are just trying to get them to hit respond and start the conversation with you. So don't water down your objective by trying to have too many objectives. Figure out the one thing you are trying to accomplish and focus on that. Okay, so what's the action item here? As you're editing your copy, go back line by line and ask yourself with every line, is this getting the user closer to the objective that I have? Yes? Great, keep going. No, rewrite that part so that it is furthering the objective that you have. Okay, so first essential element, audience. Second essential element, objective. The third one, engagement. So as we just talked about in the objective standpoint, you're rewriting to try and further that objective. How do you actually further that objective? Well, you engage your audience in a compelling way. How do you do that? By telling good stories. So while story is not the sexiest thing to talk about, it is fundamentally the most important part of copywriting. If you can get that right, you're going to be able to craft an engaging message that will appeal to your audience, which will then in turn help you accomplish your objective. Here's the best piece of advice I have ever received about storytelling. Master the craft, not the form. So randomly, I was hanging out in this ridiculous mansion in the Hollywood Hills with 4 friends. Orlando Jones walks in. Google him. You've probably seen him. He's been in a bunch of stuff, especially the Make 7 Up Yours commercials a while back.
Make 7 up yours. Make 7 up yours.
We ended up hanging out with him that night, and that's what he told me. He said, I can tell the same story to a group of 5th graders as I can to a group of Pepsi executives. I'm not an actor, I am a storyteller. And he said, master the craft, not the form. The craft is storytelling. He can do that no matter who he's talking to. He can do that in person. He can do that in writing. He can do that in a movie. It doesn't matter what form it takes, but if you can learn the craft of storytelling, you are going to be much more effective just frankly, in life, but especially as a copywriter. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say that my audience is 25-year-olds that want to start affiliate marketing businesses so they can travel the world and become digital nomads. I need to create a story that's going to engage them, that's going to get them to take the objective I want them to take, and is going to appeal to that specific audience and that specific person. So if I was going to do that, here's what that copy might look like. The day I knew affiliate marketing had true potential was the same week that I almost died. I was living in Bangkok in the midst of crazy protests that broke out right in front of my apartment. After 2 nights of gunfire and grenades going off constantly, I had to flee to a friend's apartment across town. Fast forward 2 days, it was 10:55 p.m. on a rainy Bangkok night, and I'd done a review for a product that was about to come out called the Empire Building Kit. I ran downstairs to grab a cup of coffee and came back just after 11 p.m. local time, which is when the sale of this new product went live. I opened my inbox, not expecting much, but you know what was there? 4 emails, and each of them said, Sean Ogle, you've just referred a sale for $126.99. In 5 minutes, I made over $500. And this is just the very tip of the affiliate marketing iceberg. So, if you're a 25-year-old that wants to travel and have adventures, that's probably going to appeal to you. Being shot at while you're in Bangkok, that's pretty crazy. And then very quickly and easy, making $500 while you're getting a cup of coffee, that's compelling. That's going to draw somebody in. But the only reason I was able to get the engagement, to get somebody to want to keep reading, is because I understood who the audience was. If I was writing that for a 65-year-old retiree on Social Security, I would tell that story in a completely different way. So do you kind of see how these 3 things all play off each other? Audience, objective, engagement. You've got to have all 3 of them if you want to be an effective copywriter. And like I said, most new copywriters, they don't even think about this at all. They just start writing and they end up with a lot of generic things that don't have a specific audience, they don't have one specific objective, and frankly aren't very engaging. So when you're writing your copy, think about these 3 things, practice these 3 things, and I promise you, you're going to make so much more money, because that's the great thing about copywriting. If you can be persuasive with your words, you are never gonna hurt for money a day in your life. My name's Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Location Rebel, where we teach you how to build small businesses you can run from anywhere in the world, give you the free time to do more of the stuff you love. I highly recommend you check out this video right here next if you found this one useful, and I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.